fucking insane. Fa la 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 la. Fuck.
Welcome one, welcome all, back to Deck the Halls. Tonight, we're going to review Home Alone. Okay, so the movie starts out, we're at this house, 12, 13 people walking around and like rushing around from room to room. And then you see Joe Pesci. He's dressed up or he's posing as a cop. Basically, I'm just going to go ahead and spill the beans. Joe Pesci isn't a cop and he's actually one of the robbers. But we'll get to that later on. They're all sitting around eating pizza. They ordered pizza. Kevin likes cheese pizza. By the time he gets there, there's like none left. Everybody ate it all. Ends up spilling a bunch of drinks and shit or something. And then his uncle, one of the most famous lines in the film, believe me, there are many. He's like, "Look what you did, you little jerk." So they damn him to go upstairs to the 3rd floor to sleep in the attic. And it's like the most dreaded place to go because his little cousin like pisses the bed every night or some shit, and he has to share the same bed with him. So that's just fucking fucked. Buzz is just an asshole, you know, and it was kind of like he instigated the entire thing anyway. So it was mainly Buzz's fault. He's a fucker. Kevin's mom walks him up to the attic, and you know, right before he goes in there to go to sleep, she's like, basically giving this long lecture about how he really needs to think about what he said. People are lucky to have their family and all this shit. You know, Kevin's basically just like, you know what? Well, I wish that I didn't have a family. You know, and he's basically like going off on this rant about how his family sucks and he hates them and how he wishes that they just didn't exist. He goes up there and he goes to sleep. Next morning, everybody wakes up. Everybody's rushing around the house again. It's fucking anarchy once again. It's madness, chaos. They're taking all their luggage and all their bags and throwing them into the shuttles and doing head counts and making sure everybody's there and present. Everybody seems to be there, so they all board the shuttle and go to the airport. You know, they make it just in time. They finally get on the airplane. Cut back to the house. Kevin was totally left behind. Kevin wakes up and he goes downstairs and it's just like a ghost town, you know what I'm saying? He's like walking around. He's like looking around and there's just like nobody there. I made my family disappear. Basically, he feels responsible because the night before he wished that they would disappear, and he wakes up in the morning and everybody's gone. You know, they technically initially disappeared, you know, like, and he thinks it's because of him, because he wished it. Cut back to the family. They finally get on the airplane, right, and they're just sitting there, and it's like one of the funniest fucking moments in the whole movie, and it's like, Kevin! She realizes that Kevin's not there. Basically, they get to Paris, and like the whole time they're just trying to like get back, or the mom's trying to like get in touch with Kevin, and like they're not having luck. You know, they have some cop go down there and he like just does a checkup to see if anybody's home, and it doesn't seem like anybody's there, so that's what he tells them, you know. So like she basically puts it on herself to get back to her son, you know, to get back to Chicago. All the while, Kevin's just living it up, eating popcorn while he's jumping on his parents' bed and shit, and like listening to music super loud, watching all these awesome movies, like gangster movies. And 2 burglars outside, Harry and Marv. They scope the house out now, and he's like, it kind of looks like people are still at home. Joe Pesci's basically just kind of like, there's no way. You know, I talked to him, they said they were going to Paris. It's open season. A couple days later or something, I remember Kevin was like outside and like he sees him like on the street or something, and he notices Joe Pesci or some shit, and like they start following him, you know, because he recognizes him. Kevin understands what's going on. He just like rigs up a bunch of traps all over the house, you know, just in case the robbers do break in. There's a bunch of zany ass like traps that these guys get into that Kevin set up. There's this one trap in particular that's really awesome where he takes this like, I don't know what it is, it's some kind of like heating element, and he like puts it on the doorknob, and it just heats the doorknob up on both sides, okay? Or just heats the doorknob up in general. Harry just like, I guess like he thinks that maybe if the door's just open, I don't know what he's trying to do, but he grabs the doorknob, you know, and it just like burns this giant M into his hand, and he like falls back. It's so hilarious. He reminds me of Yosemite Sam when he's like, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? He's like muffling under his breath. It's so priceless. That shit is so hilarious. One of my favorite Marv scenes is whenever, or I'll go ahead and hit y'all with a couple of Marv scenes here real quick. I love the part whenever Marv opens up the window and Kevin like lines the floor in these like glass ornaments, and they're like tiny, okay? And some of them are circular shaped, but they're all glass, okay? And he like lines the floor with them like right underneath the windowsill. And whenever Marv just like comes in, he just steps down super hard, and you can tell if that shit was real, that would have hurt so bad. I remember watching that shit and rewinding it over and over and laughing so hard. One of my other favorite Marv parts, he's like stuck in a tar, and he's like trying to go up the stairs, and like he like stuck the nail through the bottom of the shingle and like plastered it to the step. So like Marv literally just like steps right on the nail and just falls backwards. It was a riot, dude. That shit was awesome. Top one favorite Marv moment in Home Alone. I'm just laughing thinking about it. The spider part is the most fucking hilarious part in that whole entire movie. That's it. Whenever he screams and the way he reacts to the spider on his face, I've never seen anything funnier in a movie. Anytime I watch it, I'll laugh hard as fuck. It's the best Marv moment in Home Alone. I got two more of my favorite Joe Pesci, aka Harry moments. I really love the part whenever he like walks in the door. He's like, now you're gonna get it, or some shit like that. He walks in the door and like, it's like some saran wrap just like coated in some honey or something really sticky, and it gets all over his face. There's just like a fan that just blows a bunch of feathers into his face, you know what I'm saying? He's just standing there fucking pissed as shit. And my number one top favorite Joe Pesci Harry moment in the film Home Alone, the blowtorch. His eyes whenever it's happening, and he's getting his fucking top of his head just fucking charbroiled, fucking blowtorch, you know what I'm saying? The reaction on the dude's face is amazing. It's so realistic because like his first reaction, you know, there's snow all around you, dude. So like my head's on fire, I'm jumping in, I'm gonna fucking head first into a snow mound, you know? It's fucking great. I mean, the spider moment is my all-time favorite Home Alone moment, you know what I'm saying? But that one's pretty fucking close. The blowtorch is pretty hilarious. He strings them through this fucking fun house that they like to call it at the end, you know, through this fucking fun house of death, basically. He hits them with some paint cans and shit, all kinds of stuff. It's pretty wild. Like, he knocks Joe Pesci's gold tooth out that he's so proud to have, you know, he knocks it out. I also forgot to mention that there's this like creepy old man that shovels snow. Supposedly some rumors about how he killed people or some shit, and he freaks them out, you know, but then it turns out that he's just like a nice old man that like kinda lost his family. Kevin goes across a rope, okay, to his tree house, like it's connected by a rope from the house. Kevin climbs the rope and he's like gets to the tree house, okay, and he's across the way and he's like, hey, you guys! And like they're climbing on the rope, you know what I'm saying, trying to get to him as fast as they can. He's like, check it out, or some shit like that. He pulls out these giant like hedge clippers. He cuts the rope and they just like swing right smack face first into the house. Kevin just like tormented these guys for probably about like 20-25 minutes, you know what I'm saying? They're pretty fucking beat up and fed up with this kid. He runs across the street and he goes into his neighbor's house. He calls the cops from his house and tells them that it's going to be at his neighbor's house. His neighbor's like out of town or something. So he goes over there and like the whole basement's flooded and shit, and like he's running through the water. He gets up to the door and opens the door to go into the to the inside of the house, and Harry Marver just standing there, you know what I'm saying? He's like, "What's up, little guy?" or some shit like that, you know what I'm saying? He picks Kevin up, Macaulay Culkin, yeah, that's the first time I said it, but he picks Macaulay Culkin up, or little Kevin, and he puts him on, because I feel like he was Kevin. He wasn't Macaulay Culkin in the movie, he was Kevin McAllister. He lifts little Kevin, or they lift Kevin up and they put him on like a coat hook or some shit. They're basically just saying that they're gonna like break his fingers and like do all the same shit that he did to them, you know, but reenact it on him. He's like talking about biting his fingers off one by one and shit, and then all of a sudden, pow! Shovel smacks Marv across his face, and he falls down, and then pow! Fucking shovel hits Joe Pesci in the back of the head, and he falls to the ground. The creepy old man in the beginning, or whatever, or the misunderstood old man, gets Kevin off of the hook or whatever, you know, and he brings it back home. The police show up, arrest Harry and Marv. Kevin's just like smugly just chilling, watching them through the window, you know, later motherfuckers, you know, y'all trying to get me, but fuck y'all, you know, he totally like won. We cut to the morning time, he wakes up, you know, and then he goes out into the living room. All the while, you gotta remember that his mom was like trying to get there. She had to hitch rides from like people, like a fucking band that John Candy was in and all this shit. His mom's like, says his name like Kevin or something, you know, he turns around, they have this big moment where they like hug and they all reunite, and then the family comes home too, like they're there too, you know, like, so he basically gets his whole family back right then and there, you know, on Christmas morning. Okay, so after the lovey-dovey moment happens and the credits are just about to roll, you hear Buzz up in his room saying, "Kevin, what did you do to my room?" To elaborate more, Kevin went into his room and got a bunch of fireworks and like knocked over a bunch of shit in the process of trying to get the fireworks, and the spider got loose, and that's how the spider gets onto Marv's face, you know, for his classic freak out. Definitely great for a movie that came out in 1990. It's a classic Christmas film, and if you haven't seen it, then you definitely should check it out, because to me it's just something I watch every Christmas. I have to watch Home Alone, Die Hard, you know, there's just those Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman. It's just, there's so many things that I have to just watch every Christmas. And yeah, cliche, I know, A Christmas Story. There's so many good things out there that just pertain to Christmas, and I feel like I have to watch them every year just so I can gain that nostalgia that I really love. So, once again, Scott 86, Deck the Halls 2, Home Alone. Let's review Home Alone. I really hope y'all enjoyed that review, and definitely go check it out. Home Alone, starring Macaulay Culkin. I guess I'll see y'all in the next one. Merry Christmas, folks.